See what we all got in here. I see David says white label. Okay, great. Today is really going to be geared. A lot of you guys, what's up, Gus? A lot of today's training is going to be geared towards people who are currently white labeling Go High Level. However, you can use this strategy for any software because I used it to grow Lead Carrot, and Lead Carrot has only been baked into Go High Level, the scraper, for the last 2 months. So it hasn't been baked into there forever. And one thing too that I was going to mention is if you guys hear any children screaming in the background, we just sold my office space. We're emptying out of there, so there's no longer even internet in there, and so I'm working out of the guest bedroom of our townhouse today. So if you hear any kids crying, it means that bedtime ended and nap time is over. Cool. Well, it is 3 o'clock on the dot, so we're going to go ahead and get started right away. Today's presentation called How to Get Your First 100 SaaS Users, Even If You Have No Audience. Do me a favor and let me know in the chat how many users you currently have, subscribers on your software that you're white labeling, that you've got coded. It doesn't matter. Just let me know how many you currently have. 0, 0, 0. New to this. If not 5 to 10. Okay, great. Perfect. Because this is that's exactly what I was hoping for. Wait, did I just see someone say 357? That's pretty amazing. Who said 357? Derek Johnson. Oh yeah, Derek Johnson's a beast. Derek Johnson's been going at it with his tier 5 stuff. That's awesome. And Derek, am I accurate in saying that you're officially full-time at software this year? Because I think I saw a post that said you quit your job, but maybe I'm wrong. Awesome. Very cool. Software has that ability for people. And as we go into it, you'll see I don't claim to be, the next Zuckerberg or some guy who started Twitter, but I believe that what I've done in software is pretty darn cool. And for people who are looking to build really stable income and help a lot of people in the process, I think that the stuff that I've done is super duplicatable. So let me go ahead and get right into our presentation today. I have a goal to help 100 SaaS startups, including white labelers, to get their first 100 users here in 2021. I've got a lot of really cool things going on in my business, and I'll be sharing more as I'm allowed to. I've sold off a big chunk of my business just now recently. I shouldn't say I sold off. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But right now, a portion of my business is going into escrow, and I've been simplifying a lot of things because I really want to dive into this. I really enjoy this. And in 2020, just to show you guys the growth of my software, Lead Carrot was only at about $15,000 a month. This was in 2020. If you look at the dates down here, it says that from January 1st to February 22nd in 2020, we did only $30,000. And then if you flash forward to this year, let me get to the next slide. In that same time frame, we've done 148,070. I don't know how that works. $148,000 roughly. So we've had massive growth, and I'm going to take you guys through what it was that really helped me to be able to propel and to be able to grow through these different things. And you guys can anytime in the chat let me know any questions that you have, because I don't want this to feel like, even though I am going to be talking about a program at the end of it, I don't want this to feel like this is just a webinar that you're going to go in just for a pitch. I want it to feel truly educational in here, because I believe you could get on this and get off and still have so much value by the end of this. As mentioned before, I did not create the next Salesforce or Twitter, but I did something that I'm proud of. And I built a software that's being used by over 2,000 users here in 2021, and that's Lead Carrot. Right now, as mentioned, I'm downsizing in life. I've sold off a portion of my business. I've been simplifying a lot of things, and my wife and I just ordered up a fifth wheel that we will be picking up in Indiana in April, and we're going to hit the road full time seeing national parks and taking the kids out and do it for almost, we're hoping to go for about 2 years. We'll see if we can last that long before we settle down, maybe in like Florida. And so the reason why I bring this up is because the twist and the take that I have on software is a bit different than some. You're going to notice that I'm really into systemizing things, so that way you have some freedom and you're not always just supporting people and doing demos. I've really made it to where when it comes to the actual back end of the software, I'm about as hands off as somebody could be. And it's because of the goals and the things that mean a lot to me in my life. And so that's why I have takes that I have. And the reason I say that is because just because I'm saying, for instance, I don't like to do demos doesn't mean that, demos are bad. So if somebody's out there teaching how to do demos, that doesn't mean it's wrong. Just means it's not in tune with what my personal goals were in my agency or in my software. And so, that's why I have a different way to swing a club. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how I have a $0 client acquisition cost. Will recording be available? Yes, it will. There will be a recording available. How I've cut through the noise of other CRMs and how I take on users with minimal demos. I say minimal because sometimes people ask in the support chat, hey, could we schedule a demo? And if it's not something that we can avoid, then we'll get on a demo to help them out. But we really don't do a lot of demos in our software at all. So who is this for? If you've got a SaaS and you need to get traction, then this is for you guys. If you're white labeling, go high level, or you have an existing software, this training is going to be very educational for you. And also, if you're just interested in software, but you don't have a software yet, this will give you some great insights. Most people know what SaaS stands for, software as a service. And the thing I like about software as a service is rather than agency where I sell a client and now I have to go fulfill and run ads and do all these things, it's kind of like a course where you give them logins and then you just support them. So that's what I enjoy about software. Let's get into it here. As a lot of us are also agency owners, and our industry is changing and it's evolving. And I want you to think back to like the late 90s. I don't know how many of you guys remember, but I remember a second cousin of mine who's older, it's my mother's cousin. She at the time was getting into building websites. And this was when like Yahoo Groups was a thing. And like these pages were ugly and that people would pay her money and she would go build these websites. And then, websites really got advanced. And then what ended up happening is things like Wix came out and stuff where it became so easy to build a website that a business owner can get started for, they can buy a Wix account and they can have a beautiful website, in a very short amount of time. And that's what happens in any sort of space. Something comes out, it requires a lot of skill to do it. And then that space gets crowded. And then someone comes up with this bright idea of technology and, how we can make this easier and cut out this person, and boom, then you have the end result, which is, technology evolving. And that's happening in the lead gen space. Lead gen is still a great industry, so I'm not harping on that. I have an agency that does live transfer. We don't really do straight up lead gen anymore. But the idea is that if you think back like 8 years ago, and I'm sure some of you guys who have been in lead generation for a while can remember when it was so easy to sell lead generation, because most people at the time were selling like, we're going to do 5 posts a week, 1 email. Like they were selling this marketing on a Facebook page that technically a 15-year-old kid could do. So as that started to fade, people thought, okay, what's the next thing? And it started to become lead gen. And you'll remember we had the crazy discount funnel and different things that people started putting out, and they could generate leads. And we were just so happy that it wasn't just impressions and clicks, but now we were actually getting information from people that wanted to potentially buy our product. And it was cool and it required a lot of skill. But now the space starts to get crowded because of things where it's, a business opportunity, people learning how to do it in other countries. There's just a lot of crowded people in the space. It's just the natural evolution. I wouldn't say it's anybody's fault, just the natural evolution of how things work. And more people learn this skill. And then tech births. And what I mean by that is someone creates a way to do it cheaper, faster, and just as good. In fact, if you haven't looked at it already, Google Facebook Power 5 document. Facebook is making it to where it is so easy that you would have to be a moron to not be able to generate your own leads. They've got the lead generation ads, and then they have targeting that's pretty much smart targeting. And things are moving that way because they want business owners to be able to do these things for themselves. I'm sure you guys have seen things like Exod and these different platforms that are coming out where business owners can have AI build their ads, build perfect copy for them, and generate leads for them. And I would love to let my ego get in the way and be like, it'll never replace me. But I've learned by watching things that that's wrong. It will one day replace me. And I have to find a way to stay ahead of it. I feel like that's something I've been pretty good at in agency this past year. Last year, we switched to all live transfers in my agency. We've stayed ahead. Now we're not selling leads. We're making your phone ring. And it's all always been about just staying ahead of the curve. But next, I believe that it's going to be, and it's already happening. So I shouldn't say I believe, do-it-yourself lead gen is almost going to become what do-it-yourself websites were. More customers are aware of the problem. Now they just need a solution. Companies like, I'll just use ClickFunnels as an example. If you go look at ads, they're directly targeting your customers, the small business owners, and they've got a ton of data on them because we've been feeding it to them for a very long time. You look at even my own clients. We talk to our clients regularly and they're like, hey, where could I go to learn this? Where could I go to learn that? They're interested in funnels. They're interested in learning ads. And so if we want to stay ahead of it, we can. And that's why I believe SaaS is such a good opportunity, and the wave has only began. And it gives you a great chance to stand out, because it used to just be the solopreneur was where you could sell programs and software and things like that to in our space. But now even these business owners are starting to take notice of what we've been doing because they've been paying us for so long now, a hefty premium monthly fee to be able to do this. So much like a course, the nice thing about SaaS is that you just need to give them logins and provide support to them. And then once a user activates and the software becomes habitual for them, it becomes hard for them to cancel. And you're going to hear me bring up ClickFunnels a lot today. And the reason for that is not because I love the software. I actually can't stand the software, but who could deny they are some of the best marketers in the world? And that they've done some really smart things, but they've also done some really dumb things, which is why they're losing so many users now. But I like to look at the strength of them, especially because as a white label, you don't really have much control over building your actual product, but you do have control over the marketing of your product. And so I like looking at what they've done. We'll dissect some of those things in a little bit, because I paid $300 a month for 3 years to them, and I wasn't even using it the last year. I just didn't want to lose all those funnels that I had built up in there. So if you get somebody habitually using it and they build up data in there, it's going to become very hard for them to leave your solution. And it also provides you with some stable monthly reoccurring revenue. So it can take a little while to dial in the marketing and sales. So even though I'm excited about SaaS and I'm explaining it, I don't want you guys to think this is a get rich quick opportunity, because it's really not. But you can get rich if you wanted to off of it, and you can make a lot of money in the process on software. So let me take you on the journey that I've gone through with Lead Care, so I can explain how I took on the users throughout this process. So in 2018, me and Andre started Lead Carrot. Andre's actually in the chat here. And he came through one of my courses, and I was showing at the time how to do all this web scraping and stuff and put together a list. And he's like, Ross, that's cool and all. I appreciate the course, but I could automate all of this. And at first, I think it was my ego that got on the phone with him, because I was like, no, he can't. Who's this guy I think he is? And then sure enough, he could automate everything that I was doing. And, my mind was blown, and I was like, great, let's go ahead and do this. So as he's building it, we figure, okay, well, you're good at tech. I'm decent at marketing. Let's go. It wasn't enough. It was actually rather hard for us to get going out of the bat. And I am going to explain why and some of the things that we did. I did the same thing that every newbie go high level white labeler does. I would go live on Facebook. And or I'd record these and I would just start feature blasting and showing people, look, you can do this on this, especially when we added our CRM in, because we initially had our own native CRM. I was like showing all these different things that, of what people can do. And it was just so hard because people were looking at it and they're like, that's cool, but I'm using this already, or that's cool, but I'm using Go High Level, or that's cool, but I'm using HubSpot, Pipedrive, everything in the world. So I was like, okay, Andre's put all this work into coding this. I have to find a way to be able to sell this thing, like start taking on more users. And as you guys saw, we were only doing maybe $15,000 a month just a year ago. So I thought, how can I make this thing unique? How can I make this software different, even though it's not? I mean, I was competing at the product level with so many people. And I remembered Ami. Now, you guys have no clue who Ami is, but if you see the skinny little kid here in the middle, when I first started my agency, actually, this happened before I started my agency. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do before I started agency. I was selling wholesale cell phone parts to stores. I had been known in the network a little bit because I had a store myself, and this guy hired me to sell parts for him. And one day he calls me up and says, Ross, I'm sending you a cell phone I paid $5,000 for. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I'm getting a work phone or something. I was pretty pumped about it. He says, don't lose it. It's very valuable. So I said, okay. So I get this phone in the mail and it looks like this. And I'm like, he got ripped. This is like $150 crappy Boost mobile phone. So I call him up and I said, Ami, I think someone screwed you over. I don't know where you bought this, but this phone looks like crap. And he said to me, Ross, I don't care about the phone. That phone used to be from one of the top sales guys at Green Machine in Florida. It was a company that recycled LCD screens. It has all of their customers on it, every single one of their customers. You can now call the people on that phone and try to sell them the thing, sell them our service. And a light went off for me, because the way that you could make competing products irrelevant is not through the price. It's by decommoditizing your offer. See, I was thinking of it at the product level. This is, if I were to put that phone on Craigslist, it wouldn't sell for $5,000 because no one cares about those contacts in it. But if I sold it to the right person and I had the right things in it, I was decommoditizing that phone, and now this phone is worth $5,000. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me know in the chats real quick if we're all on the same page. Awesome. So what does this mean for your software? Does it mean, oh, I need certain Snapchats, templates, this and that, blah, 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 or snapshots? Well, maybe, but that's not the route I took because we didn't have those things on LeadCarrot. And the thing is that after a while, even things like a snapshot can become commoditized, because let's say everyone's going after attorneys or going after realtors or whatever. The problem is that if everyone starts offering a snapshot, well, then once again, you can quickly become a commodity. Hey, we're gonna give you a website, this, that. Okay, well, they're gonna do that too, but for this price. So how can you make yours stand out? That's the question. So I decided to give this a try, and I'm going to be showing you guys the strategy I implemented, but the end result was that my cost to acquire a customer went to 0. We started taking out about 5 to 20 users per day, and we've built stable monthly reoccurring revenue with a stable user base. Kyle says, it makes sense, but how can you say that another way? How do you decommoditize your SaaS? Okay. So I'll say it in another way. In case, I'm glad you asked that, because maybe I didn't clarify exactly how that means. A commodity is something that you can put 2 products next to each other and compare the price. So you can look at a Go High Level and another Go High Level user and say, this one's 47, this is 97. What makes this one worth $97? And I'll give you a great example of this. The other day, and actually he might be on this training now, I had a guy ask for a refund in the support, and I said, hey, what's the refund for? And he said, well, because I already have a Go High Level account. And I said, well, what do you mean? Is well, when I logged in, it accidentally logged me into my Go High Level account. And I said to him, oh, did you use the same email? And he said, yeah. So it linked the two. I said, let me change your email. I just want you to look at mine. So he logs into mine. Keep in mind, he's paying $97 a month on Go High Level. He logs into mine at $47. And I said, does Go High Level have a lead scraper in it? No, they don't. What do you think of the styling of it? Do you like it? You know, and he said, I'm going to go cancel my Go High Level account. I'm literally powering mine with Go High Level, but he canceled his Go High Level account and came to use Lead Carrot because it was a little less expensive, which is not why, because we have a 47 to 297 level, but he was on that model, on that same plan, but because I had other things that decommoditized my offer. I could have been $97 and he would have still been getting a better deal with me. Now, I'm not saying go put a scraper, and I'm going to show you what else you can do to be able to decommoditize your offer. But the idea is to make price irrelevant. The reason I had a picture of a dog, which maybe I should have gone back and explained, is the fact that art, you can't really put a price on. Somebody will take art and they'll say, it's $800. And it's like, well, what could you compare that to? It doesn't exist anywhere else. Okay, it's $800. So that's how I view it when I say decommoditizing. It's about the value, exactly, not the price. And it really comes down to the offer, but sometimes people think that an offer just means a stack. And an offer is also the unique selling proposition in which you sell it at. So let's go ahead and take a look at the three things that we're going to be going through here on how to acquire your first user. So first, I'm going to teach you guys how to decommoditize your SaaS. Using this method, brought my cost to zero. I'm going to show you how to get strangers to sign up for your offer and instantly build trust and credibility. And I'm going to show you guys why you should do minimal demos. I feel like I have mathematical sense behind why you should do minimal demos. It's a little experience hack that I've gone through. Let's go into decommoditizing your offer further. And this is without having to sell manual services, because sometimes I see people say, yeah, you know, if you want to really make your Go High Level different, you have to sell a service with it. No, you don't actually. I actually don't like the idea of doing that unless you have a huge team behind you, because to me, the idea of SaaS is the ability to put a lot of effort on the front end of it, marketing it and selling it, and then just having support people helping with tech on the back. If you start doing all this manual stuff in the background, what you're going to end up doing is bottlenecking very, very quickly. Eric says 100%. Awesome. So we've all heard of this red ocean versus blue ocean method. I kind of don't like Russell Brunson's take on it, because he says, you know, you want to go towards the blue oceans where you don't have all the competitors and blah, 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 blah. I don't know if he's ever actually, I'm sure he has, but read the Red Ocean versus Blue Ocean book. When I look at the red ocean versus blue ocean, I think about the fact that the reason it's red is because there's a lot more opportunity in there. There's a lot more fish. The blue ocean is probably blue for a reason. And if you went through the book Blue Ocean Strategy, they talk about in there Barnum and Bailey Circus, and how they essentially were crushing it. They were doing really, really good. And then the offer kind of got swamped because other circuses started coming out. And then Circus Olay came out and they crushed it. Their ticket price was higher. They were maxing out all their audience space. And so they likened blue ocean and red ocean. And if you really think about it, the blue ocean, red ocean has nothing to do with the niche. It has nothing to do with the audience. People even get this wrong in agency. I don't want to go after attorneys because there's everyone else is going through it. I don't care. It has nothing to do with the audience, because the audience didn't get sick of getting entertained. They just wanted a new offer. They wanted something different. And so when you think about decommoditizing yourself, it doesn't mean, oh, I need to go to, you know, these guys Battery Plus stores, or my SaaS is going to serve, you know, helicopter tours and stuff like that. You don't need to get weird like that. It just means that you need to craft something that is unique and a really cool offer that makes people say, wow, that's something that I would love to have. So let's continue here. We don't want to just sell them software. because that is not a unique offer. You can find Zoho, Pipedrive, Salesforce, any CRM that you think about. Go high level. You think, why would people buy from you? Let's look at an example here. If you look at ClickFunnels, because once again, they're amazing marketers, and you look at the ads that they're running, every single ad they are running is not to the software unless it's like a retargeting ad. I can't find hardly any funnels where you click on it and it takes you to their website. They always sell the thing that sells the thing because that allows them to decommoditize. They push their book, they push webinars, they push courses. And so as I started dissecting that and looking at that, it made me change up my offer. And you guys might remember about a year and a half ago when I started pushing agency knowledge. Actually, that was about 2 years ago. Agency knowledge really, really hard. I was doing 1 to 2 webinars every single day with agency knowledge. My goal of that program and of every course that I have made since after client acquisition was not for the course. That was the short-term goal, was to acquire sales for that. It was to spread the word about Lead Carrot and to make money in the process, so that way I had 0 client acquisition costs. So let me show you what happened and why this was such an effective way for us. I would run a webinar to my product, and let's just, for easy math, say you have 100 people registered for a webinar. On average, with cold traffic, about 25% of people will show up. We only had 112 people registered for this webinar because I did 3 or 4 posts and an email. We have 46 people on the live now. That's not normal for a cold traffic webinar, at least for me. If you can get greater than that, perfect. I've been through Jason Flatlin stuff. I've been through tons of webinar programs. 25% show up rate is average, and then about another 25% on the replay. About 15 to 20% of the people who show up will purchase whatever it is that I'm selling at the end of that webinar. So roughly about, out of, if there's 100 people that registered, about 4 people are going to purchase from that 100. But here's the cool part. The people who couldn't afford my thing, about 18 to 20% of them will go and just buy my software. And you'll see it in the support chat. Hey, I was just on this. I was just on his webinar. I was just on his webinar. I was just on his webinar. You can see these people coming through because of a specific way that I structure my webinars. It's not just a perfect webinar structure. It's a specific way that I do it. So that way, people who couldn't afford my thing, they're going to try to go figure it out on their own. But in order for them to figure it out, they have to use my software because of the way that it's been structured. Is this making sense for everybody? Will the replay be? Yeah, this replay will be available. So about 20 people, if I have 100 people registered and 25% of these people are going to show up, and then you're going to have another 25% on the replay, about 4 people will buy my program and about 20 people will go sign up on the software. So if I'm paying $10 a lead, and let's say I spent $1,000, and I don't have any products that are below $2,000. In fact, right now my program is $10,000 if people want to get into it. But when I was pushing these things through this program really, really hard, and then I have other entry-level products. But as far as stuff I'm doing main webinars for, let's say that you were at $997, which I recommend that you at least try to get, say, $1997 out of it or so, if you're, because you'll have more room for profitability as you're learning your stuff. But let's just get conservative for the webinar, because I don't want people to think that I was pitching crazy high numbers. And that means that after your webinar, you get $3,988 back if you did a live webinar. Okay, beautiful. And those people are going to get your software free for a specified period of time. It indoctrinates them, activates them into the user, etc. But then you're going to get about $940 a month reoccurring if you were selling it only at $47 a month, which I was. Otherwise, if you want to sell at $97 a month or higher, you would be double at that. The reason I have mine at 47, which we will be raising it very soon, is because we were initially competing really hard with D7 Lead Finder, and we were trying to be competitive on their pricing. We don't need to be anymore because we have way more stuff than they do. But the point is I don't want to put pie in the sky numbers. You guys will realize that I'm very transparent about the numbers that we do. So let's say now you have another $940 a month recurring. So you spend 1,000, you captured back 3,000. I don't know where that 4,000 came from. Bad math. $3,988, and you added $1,100 roughly in monthly recurring revenue. If that person stayed for say 9 months, you were extremely profitable. But I want you to think about all the people that also got to see about your software and the name and the brand on your software who didn't buy it yet, but might eventually. And that's something that I didn't even really add into the factoring of tracking those numbers, because we were just tracking the immediate people. That's why so many people, even though I'm a relatively small software, so many people know what Lead Carrot is, and they've heard the name Lead Carrot because it's been all over the freaking internet for the last 2.5 years. Because since I'm not paying to acquire users, I'm making money for everyone to see the users. I essentially have almost an unlimited ad spend to be able to continue to grow the business. And this is what most of these SaaS founders, they're not marketers. A lot of them are founders, and they're much smarter from an engineering standpoint in a lot of ways. But if you pair yourself with somebody that's a marketer, that's where you can really have an advantage, because you can sell it smarter. And that's because we're selling them the whole, not the drill. But the drill comes with it for a period of time. And I'll give you an example of this. If you look at, for instance, what ClickFunnels did, Funnel Hacks is responsible for growing their software as quick and as big as it did. And they did a webinar. They would sell Funnel Hacks, and then they would give away ClickFunnels for 6 months. They would give it away for 6 months, and that's how they would get people on it, indoctrinate them, and get them sold on it. So how do you acquire your first 100 users? Well, we just went over the first way. You decommoditize your SaaS, and you do it by having a front-end digital offer, not a service that you're going to have to put all this time into executing on the back. You put the time in up front to build a nice digital product that teaches them, the realtor, how to get more appointments, and you sell it to them, and you give them your software for a period of time. You get them indoctrinated onto it, and then it moves into a monthly subscription model. And it has been proven that it's much easier to sell a subscription or a one-time fee, even if it's significantly higher, than it is to sell an ever-going subscription. So it's easier to break them into that through that model. That makes sense with everyone? Any questions before we move on to the next one? But they could still do it with high level, even with your front end. Sure, they could. But the reality is that they don't know what high level is when you're going through your presentation. If you've changed up the look of it enough, you've got your own branding on it. And even if they did, they're not going to care once they're in. And I can give you an example of that. There's a guy who is white labeling a software. When I first got into live transfer, I was trying to look into this ping post stuff and all these different things. And there was a guy who white labels a lead distribution software. And I signed up for it for a little bit because I followed him and I was learning from him, even though I knew it wasn't his software, especially if you're providing them with the snapshots and all of those things. And I'll tell you this, even if they ended up saying, I want to move up to the 297 high level version, once you've taught them and you've sold them on it, if you have some sort of benefit for them, even if they did that, use your link or something, you're still making money off of it. But in my opinion, why would a realtor, or how would a realtor or a plumber or an electrician even end up knowing that if you are changing up the CSS and it looks like your very own software? There's really not a whole lot of reason. It's almost like WordPress. I'm going to hire a developer to, build a website for me, even though it's built on WordPress. So that's how I view that. Let's see here. How to get strangers to sign up for your offer. Instantly build trust and credibility. Here's the problem with webinars for most people usually. The problem with most of these webinars is credibility. That is why there's always this point in a webinar, and you saw it in mine where I flashed a screenshot of what Lead Carrot's done in sales, and you guys see the software and all that. But there's always this point in a webinar at the very beginning where you're building authority, and a lot of people put themselves in front of Lamborghinis and they try to make themselves look all cool. And what if you're just getting started in software and you don't have that credibility? Well, it's going to sound weird to say this, but you're not going to really need it, because you might be asking yourself, why would they believe me? No one in this space knows about me, because you're likely not going to go after marketers. You're likely going to go after some sort of business owner. and that you have minimal results in that niche. So let me tell you about an experience that I've had on this. But first, I want to ask you guys this question. Do you recognize the co-founder and CEO of Pipedrive? Let me know in the chat if you guys recognize this guy. Joe says no. No. Jennifer Thompson says yes. Jeff Miller says no. No. I see more no's than yeses. That makes my point. Nobody knows who the heck this guy is. But he is the co-founder and he's the former CEO. They hired a new CEO of Pipedrive. Yet people would listen to his content, obviously, and they would buy his products, obviously, because they made a nice product. They made a nice software. And there is this stigma when you tell someone that you are the CEO of a software company, of Lead Carrot, that they immediately start thinking about tech giants of the world. That's just how people are. I'm not saying that you are Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, or Mark Zuckerberg, but they start thinking of you as this reliable tech source because you're the CEO of a software company. And I have been in the room with in corporate environments where I'm teaching marketing to people, and every one of these people pride themselves on the degrees that they have and all this different stuff, and yet they're listening to you and letting you educate them because you are the owner of a marketing software, and they just figure, well, you must be you must be something if you started a software company. And it's funny because I even had not too long ago, I don't know if the slide's in here, so I might be getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. I had not too long ago, I was on a webinar and I skipped pretty much most of the authority building stuff because I actually hate that stuff. It makes me feel weird when people are like, and I did this and I did that. And so I skipped most of it and I just said, hey, my name's Ross. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Lead Carrot. And someone was like, wow, you're the person who started Lead Carrot? And I was like, well, I'm the co-founder of Lead Carrot. And like, you guys had that event with Dame and John, right? And like they remembered, they knew the story, like Lead Carrot was starting to precede me. And I have this vision, or this theory, I should say, that is almost the reverse of what most people think. They think that you should build a personal brand and then you'll be able to sell a bunch of crap through that personal brand. And that's true. But if you just build a real brand, a real company, and I'm not talking about the software, I'm talking about all the stuff around it, the brand, the people, the messaging, all that stuff that becomes bigger than you, your personal brand will be automatically with it. I guarantee you, Mark Zuckerberg never set out to become a personal brand. Steve Jobs probably never set out to become a personal brand, or Bill Gates. They built really cool products. They built really cool companies, and their brands just kind of came along with it. And I find the same thing is true in software. If you will just focus on building a real brand, a real company around it and putting that out there. I changed the doing business as name on my agency to Lead Carrot Conversion Agency. I have all of my stuff as a Lead Carrot product. I centered everything to create this ecosystem around Lead Carrot. So that way this brand was being built ahead of me. And there's people on Lead Carrot who have no clue who I even am now. Some, a lot of people know because they end up getting into the content. But most of the people nowadays, when they get in and they click in organically, a lot of them come in just through SEO and things that we've had. I haven't ran ads on Lead Carrot in maybe 6 months. I haven't ran hardly any. We've been growing steadily every single month just because we've had great traction now. So my point is when you're doing a webinar, if you're worried, like, why would they buy from me, this and that, most business owners, especially in the trades or in any of these, just the fact that you are the CEO of a software company is going to be enough from them, and you don't need to fake anything. That is enough for most of them. It's going to actually bring you more credibility to these guys than having a Lamborghini or jet or any of this kind of stuff, just because they're going to respect it much more. It feels more professional. So what we do is I teach people how in the webinar to generate that trust in their niche just by using the credibility. And also throughout the webinar, I teach them how to subconsciously sell the software. So that way, even if you don't sell them the course, they still go and buy your software. So it's a much better strategy. So let's go ahead and go through here. So first, you got to decommoditize your software. Also, if you're concerned about your credibility, do not worry about it, because just the fact that you are the CEO of a software company is going to instantly build your own credibility there. And I'm going to explain the math why you should do minimal demos. And this is just my thinking behind it. You guys can disagree with me on it, and that's totally fine. First of all, I'd like to know, put in the chat ND for no demos and put in just a D for demos. What would you prefer to do? No demos or demos? Let me know in the chat, because I'm interested to know what people do. Personal demos. Yeah, I'm talking about where, like, before someone signs up, they do all these they want to do demos of the software. Okay, it looks like most people don't want to do demos. It's funny because I don't do any sort of market research before I do any of this stuff. I just kind of do what has always taken me down my path and made my decisions. Okay, it looks like we're all on the same page. Most of us don't want to do demos. Well, good, because you really don't need to. The average demo is supposed to only last 15 minutes. If you go and look up average software demo, most software companies only want the demo to go for 15 minutes. That never happens. They almost always last for 30 minutes to an hour of your time. And at the end of it, what do you get? If they buy, you get $97 to $300 a month. Now, from somebody who comes from the agency world, where a 30-minute to an hour-long sale should be making you net at least $2,500 a month, it blows my mind to think that I'm going to sit there, or anyone in my staff is going to sit there for 30 minutes to an hour to only bring in $100 to $300 a month. I can't make sense of it. In fact, last year, there was a guy who was quitting ClickFunnels. He worked there, and I hired him for a couple months, and we built a demo funnel. And in fact, I was getting $18 to $20 demos out of there. And the idea was we were going to fill him up with demos, and he was just going to sell them the annual subscription. First week or two went really, really great, and then he started to not do as well. And I called him up one day and I was like, hey, how come it's not been going well? He's like, man, my internet's breaking up. I've been doing these demos from the Home Depot parking lot, like for the Wi-Fi. And I quickly realized, like, this guy was in a bad spot and probably shouldn't be doing demos. It wasn't representing our company well when you're like on your dashboard in a Home Depot parking lot. And so I was like, okay, well, we're going to quit doing the demos, because by the time I factored in his salary and the ad cost to do a demo and then what he was selling, we were pretty much like barely breaking even, like just a little bit more than break even. Andre probably remembers that rather well, that demos for us, we didn't enjoy. And so what we did is we kind of reversed it. And here's the problem with it. People tend to get way into the weeds on features when you do a demo, and it paralyzes the buying decision. And then once the person buys the software, they always want to get back on another Zoom to have you teach them how to do it again. But this time it takes like 10 times longer, because now they've become habitual Zoom people, where they're like, hey, I'm struggling to figure out how to do this thing. Can you get on a Zoom with me to do it again? Eric says that's the same thing he had when he started. And so what we decided was, we're going to make it as frictionless and easy on the front end for people to be able to buy our software. And if someone needs help, we would rather put our time and resources towards paying users and support paying users. That's why LeadCare doesn't even offer trials anymore. We did trials for a little while, and sure enough, it blows up your users. You have a ton of users, but it exhausted our support systems and made it to where we couldn't focus on our paying users. And so we decided, let's nix the trials, focus on our paying users. We ended up with higher quality people, and it allowed us to provide a higher level of service to the people who were paying us. So my solution is that if you're going to put time and money into helping people learn the software and helping people, then help your paying clients. Have a paywall to where, and basically you set everything else up around the software, which we can show you how to do. You set everything else up to where all of the things that they would need are there to make the buying decision. They purchase, and now they're on board with the Zoom call. And I'll give you the illustration that I like to use for what would you need to have before you would buy something. How do you purchase a book? But we don't go to bookstores as much anymore with COVID, but before, if you were to buy a book, what do you do? Well, first the cover catches you and you're like, oh, this is an interesting book. This is a cool title. And then you flip it around and you read the back and you see what's on the back of it. Okay, this is pretty interesting. Then you open it up and you might read a couple of the first paragraphs and you've made your decision. I'm going to buy this book. If it held your interest, if it seemed like something that you would want. I take that same philosophy in how I sell software. It's got to be captivating on the front end. It's got to have substance on the back end, but then it has to be a logical buying decision for them to go ahead and go into it. And if you're going after the right vertical, which we go into on the program, you'll get sales at the middle of night because you're getting people who are educating themselves and they're looking at things and then they finally get a little bit of time because we started off trying to make it where people had to only do demos and then people miss their appointment. They're like, it would get to a point where like, hey, can I just buy this thing from you and I'll go see. And then we realized we really don't need to be doing demos. We have enough going here. And if we just do this, this, and this, we'll be all set. See, I think I skipped a slide here. So once you use the demo list model, you guys will never want to do demos again. It's going to take some work to get yourself to that point, but once you're there, you'll just be seeing the Stripe notifications going through the night. You won't see the point in doing a demos. I could never imagine doing a demo now. Sometimes you have to do a number of demos to be able to understand your customers enough. I personally did a lot of the first demos because I wanted to know their concerns, and then you know what to put into your processes. But the goal is to eventually become demo-less. And the reason I say minimal demos is because sometimes people are still going to want to plug the buckets. Yep, absolutely. Because sometimes people are still going to want to do a demo. And if you deem it to be something that you have time for, you could have somebody hop on, a team member, someone hop on and do the demo. But we tried to do absolutely no demos if at all possible. Let's do a quick recap here. We're going to we talked about how you could decommoditize your SAAS. I said it with a lisp. Using this model that brings you to a $0 client acquisition strategy. Your software is going to give you instant credibility. So that way, the people within your vertical and within your niche, they respect and trust you without you having to do any scammy, slimy Lamborghini tactics. And 3, you should be doing minimal demos. Because otherwise you're going to end up exhausting your resources, time that you should be putting into people who supporting paying users. Because I would rather spend more time keeping people on my software and marketing the front end rather than just doing demos for people that might not ever buy it. In fact, there was a lady and she actually bought it, but even still, she spent a lot of time on the front end. Andre remembers her. We spent way too much time on this lady. She was every little thing, the calendar, this, that, and we made $47 off of her. And then she canceled and because she went to the next shiny thing. And it just kind of solidified in my mind that the more you can have automated to help people provide that Disney experience without having to physically be on there, unless they have, and some companies are even having that if you want personalized support like that, you pay a higher premium for it. And I like that model. I like the model that if you're going to be a high maintenance client, that's fine. We still want you here. We still love you, but we have to charge you for it because, that is, we have to be profitable. We're a business. I like that model. I just decided that. So guys, I want to go through questions because I want to give anybody who wants to split before they see my offer today an opportunity. I don't want to, just be pitching people who don't really care about actually getting into the software mode. But I'll answer more questions at the end, but this would be that time if you guys are not interested in seeing what we have to offer for you guys who are wanting to get your software for you guys to be able to go. But we've appreciated anyone being on here. And so for anyone else that's staying, I'll just assume you guys are interested in what we have to offer for you today. SaaS Mode is a new product that we just launched. In fact, it's a 3-month program that has come out. The first 16 videos were just uploaded on Friday, and we've got a ton more coming this week. And it's walking you through every stage of what we've even gone through today, plus a bunch of other cool, really cool tactics. Some of the people who are in the chat here, they pre-enrolled. So far, they can feel free to let you guys know if they've enjoyed the content or not. I've only talked to a few of them, and so far everyone seems to enjoy what's come out so far. But there is a ton of stuff that is coming out. really deep level stuff. Like this is something that I'm going all in on this year, and we're going to be constantly revising it. And what it teaches you how to do is how to create a duplicatable sales process to sell SaaS with minimal demos. So I go deeper on decommoditizing your offer so that way you can grow a sustainable SaaS business. I show you how to create the digital products that sell your software for you, because there's a difference between just creating a digital product and then creating one that sells your software for you. And a lot of these things are content that's going to be dripping out over this week and next as well. So some of you guys who got into it already, who are watching this, you might be like, oh, I might have missed that video. You didn't miss it. The first 16 videos that you guys got, which I know is several hours of content, was what I felt was needed to give you a zoomed out view of the program. And then we zoom in and start going really detailed. I'm going to show you guys how I did it, and then I'm going to show you how to sell those digital products. And what's really cool is as you create more front-end digital products, because I recommend you do, you can actually resell the new ones to existing users and get more sales out of that, which I think is a really neat model to do as well. So just imagine that you guys have hundreds of users on a software. You see them inputting data, running their business off of it. You know that you're creating sustainable monthly recurring revenue for your business. And the reason I say that is because there was a moment that clicks where you're like, somebody will say, hey, can you help me with something? And you log into their software to look at it, and you see they've been setting things up, and it's all stuff that on your software. And Andre and I have talked about this before, where it's really cool to see people utilizing, this thing that you're pushing, that you're promoting, and it's helping them and it's growing them. And you see customers responding. I had a guy who took my appointments on autopilot system with the automations, and he was in car insurance or car warranty sales, and he utilized it and got 8 appointments that day. And it's just a really neat feeling. And so I just want everyone to experience that as well. I also have really engaging content. So it's not all just slides like this. It's actually me in front of the whiteboard, walking through my processes, etc. And it's actually built inside of a Go High Level member site. By the end of the training, you guys are going to have all the knowledge and experience that I've gotten over the last 3 years to grow your SaaS. And I'm also going to give you the actionable steps to implement it. So let me go through what's included in this program. Aside from the SaaS mode, we're also going to give you all the custom CSS for your Go High Level. And I'm going to bust a myth in just a moment. But as you can see, we did a nice horizontal menu for our Go High Level. And Andre really did a good job cleaning up the UI. And it makes it more user-friendly for people. And the reason for that, in my belief, I have a theory, is humans read left to right. I like the horizontal menu. It makes things make sense for me. I don't read as well up and down, so it's just a little easier for me to navigate that way. And we've also hidden some things under settings and so forth to make the UI look cleaner. So you'll notice that from the little drop down, he created this thing where your settings, your integrations, your pipelines, you can put an affiliate thing there if people want to affiliate your software, billing and so forth. All of that is in a nice little drop down. Another thing you'll notice is that we have these 2 little help desk icons. And what those are, the blue one is only visible to admins, and the orange one is our custom one. So what that does is my support people, we have cut our own help desk, so that way people don't see the Go High Level help desk. But if they don't know the answer to something, they can click on the blue one, they can figure it out, and then they can answer it in the chat through our own personal help desk, and then they can create a video on that. So I personally love that feature that he's got it set up that admins can see the blue one, users can only see the orange one. Makes it very, very easy for your help desk. We've also added in a user level Twilio integration. So what that means is right now, if you're on the agency level of Go High Level, what ends up happening is if somebody wants to add their Twilio account to it, you have to actually go in and manually add their Twilio account. Now, I know that there's a feature coming out soon, it's not out yet, where you can upcharge on the Twilio, and that's great and dandy. But for people who want to use their own Twilio account, they can add it themselves. It's in the integrations tab at the user level. They can put in their own account SID and token and connect it. Bada bing, bada boom. The other thing that we've got, and we're making this even better here to come, and you guys get lifetime access to any of these features that we end up launching, is we've changed up the dash so it doesn't look just like that Go High Level dash. In fact, we're changing the funnel look as well, because I hate these Windows 95 looking funnels, to where it's going to look much more modern with the graphic. And so what'll end up happening is when you're posting screenshots and things of your software, it's got your own logo in there. It's got your own stuff, and people aren't going to go, oh, let's Go High Level. If you look at what happened with Billie Jean, he blurred out an ad and he was like, I've got a software coming. And people are like, that's Go High Level. So we're going to give you all of that cool stuff as well. I think that this stuff is worth the entire program personally, but the other stuff's really cool. He's also really cleaned up the chat UI and he designed it around making it look more like the Facebook UI. If you were to look at this and look at what you currently have, he's made it look a lot nicer and a lot cleaner. And then he's even added some fancy little things over here in the chat. So that way it just mimics kind of the Go High or the Facebook look as opposed to the Go High Level. If you wanted to, you can screenshot this and then go look at your own. This one does look significantly cleaner, and we can use your own colors in this as well. And then we even added your own spinny logo between loading screens. So when somebody's changing from screen to screen, you know how you have those little squares on Go High Level? If you just give us I don't know if it's a GIF or a GIF. I never know. But if you give us one of those with your logo, it's even more custom branded, because that's going to be the load screen between it. People are going to feel much better about your platform. One of the things, and Andre can explain it in the chat even better, but we just saw somebody ripped our look a little bit, and they even went in the Go High Level group and they were like, hey, I'm going to give you this for free. And then we had a bunch of people come buy our code anyways. They were like, we tried it. It messed up our whole menu. It didn't work that well. It was clear that they didn't do it as well as what you did. Everything was stacking. And so he put a lot of time into this is the point. And he didn't just randomly slap stuff together. I think it took him 2.5 weeks just to make this stuff look good. So you guys will be able to customize the look of your software, make it look clean and unique, creating a great user-friendly experience. It's going to help you guys retain people longer. It's going to help the just overall feel to be more unique to you. So let's go over here. A couple more things included. We got the SAAS mode, custom CSS, and also we have, as I said, we have a lot more things that are being dripped into content. And one of these things is system for SaaS. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a great hands-off experience for the users, meaning to where they can get everything they need without you. I'm going to walk you guys through the processes and the flows of Lead Carrot and how we go about systemizing the back end of our business. And I'm not talking about the front end. I'm talking about the back end through the channels and SOPs and things that way, how we've developed ourselves that way. And this is going to give you guys the freedom to be able to travel, enjoy your business, et cetera, without spending hundreds of hours personally working on users. We've found all the softwares that work really, really well and really cool ways to be able to utilize them. So that way you can actually, if a user is having an issue, you can click Magic Browse, you can see what is actually on their screen, and you can walk them through those steps. So you guys will have a comprehensive understanding of what it takes to support your users, when you should hire support, where to find inexpensive quality support, and provide them with details they need to give your users a great experience. And we can actually help you find those people. So what is included? Not only do you get the SaaS mode, the custom CSS, the systems for SaaS, we are building out a really cool thing called ads and automations for SaaS. And it's a Rolodex of all of my best converting ads. So that way you can actually see all the screenshots of all of the ads that have converted well for me. And then you could emulate them as well, but for yours. I'm going to give you welcome email templates, involuntary churn, which is basically like missed payments and things like that, email templates, as well as I have a really cool LinkedIn strategy to be able to acquire users with no ads. It's an amazing strategy. I'm going to be putting that into the program as well. So this is all coming over the next 3 months, most of it being though over the next 2 weeks. This is going to allow you guys to just focus on marketing your software and not have to focus on all the back end stuff that we did. And these are all proven templates that you can just upload as a snapshot into your Go High Level accounts and actually use the campaign templates, etc., to send your users through. So you're going to get all of this good stuff for a very reasonable price. Let's just go through though what it's worth by doing a little bit of simple math. Let's just pretend you're the worst marketer in the world, that you are just awful. a horrible, horrible marketer, and you implement the things that I show you, and you only get 10 users in the first month. Even still, at the 10 users, let's say you sell them at $297 a month, you would get an immediate payback of $2,970. And I'm sorry, 297 is not the monthly. That would be if like you sold a mini course for 297 up front. And then you have $970 a month in reoccurring income. Let's say that they only retain for on average 9 months. That's $8,790. And that's just for the first month of marketing. But let's say you're a boss marketer and you do really good and you're awesome and you get 40 users. Your math quickly becomes much better. So now you just sold 10 of these different programs. You're at $11,880. Your monthly recurring goes through the roof, and that's not bad for just a month of marketing. So that's why once we get this program out of beta, we're going to charge $5,000 for this program. If you guys saw what we're doing with our Done With You live transfer agency program, that now is at $10,000. We like charging premium prices because we get premium people. But right now we're trying to get just 20 people in here off the ground, because once I get them results, testimonials and all that, it lowers people's fear of being able to get into a program. So for those of you guys that know me and you trust me, then this probably is more for you than people who've never met me, which unless they trust me already, that's okay too. We've already got about 8 people in here. So if you join me right now and the ones you pre-enrolled, you can get in for just $24.97. That is the cost of this program. I did a little digging though. There's a program out there that is called Go High Level Experts. You guys may recognize this. They charge $1,797 for a lifetime membership, and this would be comparable to what ours is, because we got a bunch of scripts coming out and we've already got scripts for you. And that's just for scripts. That's not even the marketing of the program. That is literally, and it's all basic crap. It's, change your colors, change this, change menu names. It's all basic stuff for $1,800. That's why I think that this is a no-brainer. I did a little more digging, and there's another one out there called Marketer's Toolbox or something like that. You guys might recognize it. There's here for the customizer yearly, $1,416 for just scripts. And guys, they are not as good as what League Tailored scripts are. They're just basic things like change this color, change this toolbar. What you've got is some junior level developers who have learned how to make a couple color changes and so forth. And they are doing an amazing job taking people to the cleaners on some basic scripts. But you get all of that on Lead Care, but more. Like our stuff is way, way nicer looking. And you get all that with the program for just $24.97 with lifetime access. So you guys get all this good looking stuff here for $24.97 one-time fee. I don't know why there's a question mark, because there's no question about it. That one-time fee. If you want to get in, you go to enroll.saassubscribers.com. So enroll.saassubscribers.com. I'm going to go through the chat here now and do some Q&A. Jennifer, this is what you've already purchased. Yes, don't buy anything else from me, but I appreciate I appreciate the love. Let's see, are these scripts specific for Go High Level, or they could be implemented on any other side? No, these are specific for Go High Level. I think most of the people on here are Go High Level users. So that would be one thing. In my opinion, even the course is worth it just from getting users, because you can use the training for the marketing on anything. But the bonuses of the scripts itself, those are going to be more valuable to people who are white labeling the Go High Level. Let's see. Can you use chargeable instead? Yeah, you can use anything you want. We use ThriveCart, but for charge fee, yeah, you can use any cart you want. That's just what we use. We like ThriveCart. It's what we have everything set up in. It's what we have all of them in. Another one that I think looks pretty nice is Paddle. Paddle looks like a decent one as well for software. And I like the education that they provide behind SAAS. Okay, guys. Well, I think that we've answered most questions, and I appreciate you guys. I will I will leave the screen up here for just a minute. If anybody needs any help, they can let us know. Once again, if you want to get in, you can go to enroll.saassubscribers.com, get access to a bunch of training right away, and we got a lot more stuff coming over the week. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you. Oh, Jennifer says, quick question.